Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Chris with Life 180, and I'm here with Sam Wegert from Scale Your Real Estate. And I just thought, we're here at Funnel Hacking Live. You can see the sign, I think, behind us. And I met Sam at a networking event the first night, and we totally just hit it off because in the context of cash flow hacking and doing everything we do on this channel, trying to teach people how to reach financial freedom faster through investing for cash flow rather than buying and holding, accumulating through the stock market and all those things that don't work. Sam and I just hit it off because he does something that is really, really fascinating that I've heard a little bit about, but then when we got into it, I was like, oh my God, you gotta come on my channel, I gotta interview you, I gotta share what you do with everybody else. I'm not gonna be an expert on this, but I've always wanted to talk to somebody about it. And so, Sam, Scale Your Real Estate, and we are talking about co-living real estate investing. And I'm gonna, honestly, this guy, he's the man, he's got a high ticket offer, he does all sorts of different things here, but I'm gonna drop it in your lap, and I want you to just go, and I'm gonna ask you questions.
Take this wherever I want.
Yeah,
wow.
Just run with it, bro. So actually, let's do this. Explain what is co-living like, and why do you do this? What was your journey? Like, what got you into this space?
Well, first, thanks for the slamming my mic here.
Smash.
Than's for the opportunity.
Yeah, dude.
It was great to meet you and love your energy and your family. It was
Thanks,
really beautiful to connect. The truth is, I always have known that real estate is a thing, right, for me, and something I wanted to invest in. And I guess I realized that when I realized how much money they were printing, and realizing that a house is a hard asset. Like, my mom used to even say this. She'd be like, Sam, they're not making any more real estate. Like, it's earth, and that's what it is. And if you can own some of it, like, own some of it, right?
Amen.
So as a younger generation, like, I got that.
Totally.
And I was buying. I saw a lot of my friends like buy houses and rent them, and they'd make $100 a month in cash flow and $200, and that's not bad.
It could be worse. I mean, because they're getting the appreciation, they're getting the mortgage pay down, they're getting the tax depreciation, they're getting all these things, right?
They're getting that leverage through the mortgages, exactly.
But you wanted more.
But I thought, well, Grant Cardone says, how do you 10x stuff, right?
Sure,
like 10x
totally.
So I said, how do I take $100 a month and turn it to $1,000? And that wasn't really my thought process to get into it, to be honest. But now that I'm looking back on it, I'm saying that's in essence what we've done through co-living. We've taken a house that would normally, cash flow $100 a month. Honestly, now with the prices of real estate, they might even negatively cash flow, like with how mortgages
depending
have
on where you are,
exactly.
especially. Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, rents haven't caught up in a lot of areas, haven't caught up with the increase in mortgages and whatever.
So we're renting out the rooms.
Yep.
And we're taking a house that would normally rent for, cash flow 100, and it's cash flowing $1,000 to $3,000 a month per home. And if you look at the average American, they don't need to own 100 of these homes to retire.
Right. That's
they need to own 3.
Well, so I talk about it in the terms of what's your freedom number. Like, how much money do you need every month to be financially independent, right? That's once you reach that, now you're free, and then you can show up in life completely differently. You can keep working, compound it. You can be, you can retire, you can go full time, you can pivot, whatever. But you got into this and you said, all right, if this home, you're still buying single family homes.
Yes.
Just to be clear.
Yes.
And what he's doing, and I'm gonna let you elaborate after I set the stage here. So what he's doing is he's buying single family homes, and then he's going in and you guys furnish out the common areas.
Yes.
And then you give everybody, you said something to me that was fascinating and it made a lot of sense to me, is the bedroom in these co-living spaces are like the new apartments.
That's right.
Right?
That's how I'm trying to educate the market that like the bedroom is the new apartment. And the truth is, this has been happening for hundreds and hundreds of years. Like, people have been sharing housing, which is really what this is.
Especially in Europe.
And in Europe, exactly. That's what I was going to say. When I first got on Bigger Pockets, the episode, people were reaching out to me from Europe saying, Sam, this is cool, like that you're doing this in the United States, but this has been happening in Europe for a long time because things are more expensive.
They're like, we're glad you feel smart.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Like, we've been doing this forever.
I cracked a new model. It's my new. But I think what's different is because a lot of times I'll tell people we'll have 6, 7, 8, 9 people in a home, and they're like, wait, there's no way that works, and like, how do you get those people to get along? And is that even legal with zoning regulations? And the truth is this, it's as long as you can do it and it's clean and it's quiet and it's safe, you're actually providing a huge niche in the market that needs, usually people that are single, maybe they're going through a life transition, maybe they're older and they're on a fixed income, they don't mind living with someone.
Sure.
They're willing to rent a room, they're willing to share their space.
Do you ever get student living in that situation, or you try to avoid it?
Try to avoid it.
Yeah, because young, teenagers.
So young professionals is our.
Okay, so just graduated, got a first job.
Perfect.
Like that is the ideal.
Perfect.
Single, trying to make it all work,
Yeah.
put it together.
Yeah.
Keep their overhead low, get
Yeah.
out, get some independence, live on their own.
Yeah. Ethan is a great example. Ethan came to us. He had a good job. He was probably in his early 20s, had a girlfriend. She'd come visit him every once in a while, but she lived in another city.
Yeah.
And he was able, for 3 years, he lived in one of our co-living spaces. He was able to, it might have been more, it might have been 3.5 or 4 years. He was able to pay his, at that point in the time, it was like, I think $700 a month for the room. That included all of his utilities and everything.
Wow.
In Charlotte, North Carolina, normally that, an apartment would have been $1,400, $1,500, $1,600 plus utilities.
For like a one bedroom.
Yeah.
Right? So he was able to cut his living expense in half.
Easily. Once you add on utilities to that $1,400, probably more than half. He's saving, $800, $900 a month.
That's
so he saves all of that, and he comes to me one day and says, "Hey Sam, I'm moving out." I said, "Hey man, well it's been great, no worries." And he said, "But I'm buying my own house, and I'm thinking about co-living my house." So here's a young guy able to buy his own house and not have to spend 30-40% of his income on housing.
That's awesome. Do you ever have couples that live in a room together? Is that allowed, or
it's not right now?
Not allowed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't. We just because it
too much drama.
Yeah, like it's
yeah.
We've considered opening it up, but just from a standpoint of parking and everything usually at the houses.
Yeah,
usually it usually works better with.
Well, one person per room, and there's also like has to do with like the septic and the water and the like everything that's going on.
So of course we don't tell them like no couples because I don't think that would fit into the fair housing laws, but we do say one person per room. That's exactly right. So if someone comes with the couples, we say, hey, you got to rent 2 rooms.
Okay, that's fair. I mean,
it works.
I guess.
Try not to go to jail here.
Yeah,
on this.
no. I mean, that's good. But it makes sense too. The rule is there. You're not being discriminatory. It's like.
Right.
It's a logical reason, right?
Exactly.
Like behind it. So if somebody were looking to do this, because I think this is a very appealing thing. You gave me some numbers the other day. You don't have to get into the specific numbers if you don't want, but like the concept is you could take houses like we started off by saying that are maybe breaking even or making a little bit or even negative cash flow, and you can turn them into pretty positively cash flowing properties, like immediately.
Yeah.
You mentioned you do a lot of rooms with like 6, 7, 8 rooms in a house.
Yeah. Big houses.
Does this make sense to do with like 4 rooms in a house?
I think it's all a numbers game, right?
It's all a numbers game.
It may or may not make sense depending on what you're buying the house for, but the minimum that we'll do is 6.
Okay.
The minimum. So we won't do something less than that unless it's just a killer deal. But people ask me a lot of times about the legitimacy of it from a zoning standpoint, or how does the government look at this? And the truth is, the real answer is every jurisdiction has different zoning laws, so you have to check your local zoning.
The towns, the county, or whatever it is. Yeah.
But I will say this: the largest company in this space doesn't even own real estate. They're called PadSplit. They're in Atlanta. I know you own a bunch of properties in Atlanta.
Yep.
And they are the technology. So like if you wanted to put your homes up and rent rooms instead of the house, you would convert it to this co-living model, which is something I teach. You put the locks on the doors and furnish the common area and everything.
So each room has security.
Yeah.
And you
the
have
house
that
itself
locked
has
down.
security. Yeah.
So you're not talking typical inside doors that are...
No, it's electronic keypad. I mean, it's pretty high tech. You hit your 4 buttons, your door opens up.
Cool. That's awesome.
Kitchen space is labeled. You have your shelves.
Really?
Your cabinets are labeled, so if you're in room 5, you know where room 5 is. Your kitchen.
That's awesome.
And we professionally clean the common space in the kitchen at least twice a month.
Amazing.
Just to make sure that it's clean,
so
quiet,
it's an
and safe.
enjoyable place for people to live. Yeah. You don't have to have a lot of infighting on the house getting destroyed by people, right? You got that all kind of handled.
No. What ends up happening too is because we vet the tenants well.
Yeah.
Communities are built. Like people end up enjoying who they live with. They end up going and hanging out outside of the house together. They end up having conversations. We provide education. We provide them with like a personal development manual that if they work through in the house, teaches them budgeting, goal setting. Yeah. Then we give them money. We give them gift cards.
That's amazing.
Which is kind of a cool thing.
That's awesome. So what else? This seems so simple. It seems so straightforward. You know what I mean? Like, why are not more people doing this? Is it just a lack of creativity? A lack of like awareness? Is there more to it? I mean, there's obviously pitfalls probably people would step in where they got to be careful. Yeah. So like, I'm looking at this being like, this seems too darn good,
to be true.
You know what I mean? From a cash flow perspective, if the zoning allows it.
Right.
And so, okay, I'll ask that. How do you figure that out? I mean, is that you just
call the local zoning office?
Go to the local zoning office?
Yeah. You just have to ask how many unrelated people are allowed in a home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's all right.
You also have to make sure that the home fits that neighborhood.
Okay.
You know, we look for homes that have street parking, that have parking that we can expand, and we stay away from HOAs. So if you do that, you're normally safe.
You're in pretty good shape.
And, you know, counties are not, with the affordable housing crisis the way that it is, counties are not enforcing a lot of these laws and rules.
It'd be political suicide for them to crack down on keeping people off the streets, quite frankly,
exactly
right? I mean, quite frankly, that's crazy.
So if you have people, you know, if these homes are disruptions to the neighborhood, then you're going to have some issues. But if you vet your tenants well, like any apartment, honestly.
Dude, yeah, I was
like
going to say,
just being a renter.
That's called being a landlord, right?
Like being a landlord, thank you.
Period, right?
If you do that well, then you'll have, then it's not an issue.
Yeah.
Is the truth, and that's in my experience.
Yep.
The Housing for Urban Development, otherwise known as HUD, did put out a recommendation, and this is a fairly recent development. They now allow you to use housing choice vouchers, which are like Section 8 vouchers basically, but they're not called Section 8 anymore, for shared housing.
No way.
Yeah.
So that's like,
so
it's a recognized...
Win by the federal government. Yeah.
Wow, that's kind of like a huge win for you.
It's a huge win. It's a huge win. And big shout out to Atticus LeBlanc and his team at PadSplit, because they helped lobby for HUD to actually do. They sat down with the head of HUD at the time, I forget who it was, and they said, look, this is solving the affordable housing crisis.
That's amazing.
Like, it's not us as greedy investors. Like, yes, we're getting a good return.
Yeah.
It's not us as greedy investors packing people into a house that looks terrible, that makes the neighborhood terrible. No, we're landscaping the lawns really nicely. We're making sure that's professionally clean. We're vetting the tenants well, but we're also helping to solve the affordable housing crisis. So HUD put this recommendation out to all municipalities and just said all municipalities need to look at shared housing as a fix, as a solution to affordable housing.
Yep.
And they even put a formula for how you can use the choice voucher. So I could accept that. We don't do a lot of that, but I could.
Section 8 if you wanted to.
You could accept them
on an individual basis.
Which would be guaranteed rent from the government for your shared housing home. Yeah. So that was a pretty big deal. And when I share that with people, people recognize, like, okay. So I think the other answer to your question...
It just legitimizes the whole deal. That's all.
Yeah.
Like, even if you don't use the Section 8, the fact that they acknowledge it, it's just a legitimacy thing.
Yeah.
That it's a viable model.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. So...
Management is the key, though, right?
Yeah. So...
That's maybe why more... I'd say 2 reasons why this is not happening everywhere.
Okay.
Number 1 is because people are trained to think one way, right? So when we think of a single family house, we think of this. And so this is just a slight twist, and most of the time when I'm teaching this or sharing it with people, they go, I never thought you could even do that.
I know.
I didn't think there's a market for it. I didn't think people would actually pay that.
I mean, I kind of knew about it, but I knew about it like as it was something over there that I knew was possible, but I had no idea like to the level that you've explained it to me. So explain your company, Scale Your Real Estate. Like, what do you guys do? How do you help people that are looking to get into this? Like all that stuff.
It's a plug and play method, basically.
Okay.
It's all the tools, the templates, the scripts, everything from how we vet the tenants to the 14 things we look for in the perfect co-living home.
Okay.
To exactly how to evaluate the deals. I mean, we give them our exact spreadsheet to make sure that they're getting the return on investment that they need and want.
Okay.
So they could take this, they could give it to somebody and say, you're going to manage the property. We've had students take our system, buy a few houses according to our model, give the tools, templates, and scripts to their property management company, like
they run it.
And they run it.
Wow.
Even though they're like, hey, we don't know how to do co-living. We're like, hey, so I have my property manager call them, coach them through it so that they're not having to get their hands dirty and they can still scale as an investor.
That's amazing. So is it scaleyourrealestate.com?
It is.
It is. Okay, so if you want, I'll put the description or the link in the description below.
Thank you.
People, if you want to learn about this, go check it out. Go learn. I mean, if you're somebody who's looking at cash flow real estate right now, it's hard. I mean, it's challenging right now. There's not a lot of really good deals out there. So this is almost like a way to force the value into a property, right? I mean, kind of like forced appreciation in multifamily where people go in.
Yeah.
This is kind of a similar similar deal if you're looking to need that growth and that positive cash flow right out of the gate. So is there anything else that we missed? I think that was pretty awesome.
I love what you shared earlier about using infinite banking to fund this concept, because I will say that beginner investors, one of the hardest things that I run up to when I'm coaching people or training is like, well, like, how do I get the money for the down payment? And my parents taught me this lesson of like, if you have money going out of your account where you don't see it and you can't spend it. Granted, you could do like an automatic deduction to another account. I have 2 infinite banking plans where I'm putting money in, and I literally just think of it as a bill, right? I don't see it, it's not there, and then
it's a bill with benefits.
And you were the one that was like, wait, what's your cash value in your plan? And I was like, I don't know. And I was like, I think it's like this much, whatever it was.
Guess
like,
what
dude, that's a down payment on a house.
Guess what he's doing, right?
I was like, oh, I forgot I had that money there. I literally forgot, right?
But I mean, it's leverage though, and so it's awesome. And so seriously, I would say go check his stuff out. If you have any questions at all, comment in the comment section below. I'll put all of Sam's contact information down below, the website. I don't know if you want to share your email publicly, but like any of that stuff. Social media, we'll figure all that out. We'll put it all down there. And that's it, guys. Until next video, have a blessed, inspirational day. We'll talk soon.